In this video, we are going to explain the main features of PowerTradeConsole. Let's now create a new operation so to show the procedure. In the upper part of the screen, we can see the register data embedded in the PowerTradeConsole that cannot be modified. We can select the instrument. We can select the desired operation. PowerTradeConsole manages the operations in opening and closing generated by the trader's analysis and on the graphs used by trader. It is necessary to select on which time frame PowerTradeConsole has to search for the right conditions previously entered in order to open the trade, and select which time frame has to search for the suitable conditions based on which to close the trade. In the following videos and on the training materials made available by XSGS, we will see how many and which conditions can be defined in order to open and close the traders. PowerTradeConsole manages the real economic risk. In other words, how much you can effectively lose for a single operation, trade. Generally, a professional trader decides how much he is willing to lose for a single trade in case a stop-loss level is reached. After that, he must be able to translate the stop-loss in a potential economic cost for his account and related currency and consider the cost of a spread. Thanks to these considerations and evaluations, an experienced trader can be able to define effectively how much volume he has to trade. With the new PowerTradeConsole, the entire process is immediate and automatic. The user simply has to decide the percentage of the capital he is willing to lose for each operation. PowerTradeConsole will take care of the rest. The PowerTradeConsole also requires to define the bind margin in order to obtain a total capital protection. Default value is 10%, but the user can enter a different value. With this second step, the PowerTradeConsole will assign to the operation the minimum volume taking into consideration both the risk for the operation and the minimum margin usable. Once an order is opened, the user will receive an email containing all the opening conditions, including which of two filters has been used to calculate the amount to trade. In the both conditions, the PowerTradeConsole considers the spread cost. PowerTradeConsole is able to close the position in gain both if specific conditions have been reached or if a defined take profit level has been reached. If the PowerTradeConsole has to close the operation based on conditions, then these conditions will be searched following the closing time frame. If a specific take profit level is defined, the PowerTradeConsole will not consider anymore other closing conditions nor the closing time frame, but will just look for the condition in which the target with the minimum possible time frame is reached. Placing a flag in this box, the PowerTradeConsole at the opening of operation will import the take profit level directly on the MetaTrader 4, which will manage it tick per tick. In this case, the main platform will close the trade when the target will be reached, while the PowerTradeConsole will continue to monitor the conditions that have given the input to the operation in order to safeguard the gain. As opening an operation following the analysis on some time frames can bring that the candle which confirms the opening condition or a gap are of such dimensions that could be lead to consuming a good part of the profit, we could set up a minimum distance that must be respected in terms of points. In this way, the trader is sure to avoid less profitable operations. One of the main opening conditions on all platforms is the reach of a determined price level. This condition is managed by PowerTradeConsole based on the opening time frame. In other words, the PowerTradeConsole will evaluate the candle that with its real body value will reach this defined price level. The PowerTradeConsole can dynamically manage the position of stop loss, which is do it automatically or leave the control to the user. In fixed mode, the user is required to give a value for the stop loss level. Instead, in calculated mode, the PowerTradeConsole will automatically place the stop loss. If the operation is a sell, the stop loss will be placed on the maximum of previous candle. If the operation is a buy, the stop loss will be placed on the minimum of the previous candle. Once the operation is running with the stop loss level, the PowerTradeConsole will manage it on the 1 minute time frame. No operation can be set without stop loss. In some strategies and in certain market conditions, the trader can assume that the noise of a market could reach a false stop loss level. In order to avoid this, with a simple flag on stop loss by time frame, the trader is able to decide that the PowerTradeConsole will exit in stop loss by considering the candle at closing time frame. This way of working increases at a level that is impossible to define the percentage of risk of the operation. To be more on a safe side, however, you may want to import the stop loss into the main platform in order to evaluate it tick by tick. Pay attention that if you do not insert take profit by broker and or stop loss by broker, the operation will be completely managed and monitored by PowerTradeConsole. In this box you have to put a number of security points for the stop loss. For example, if we put 5 points in this box and we have selected stop loss calculated in a sell operation, the PowerTradeConsole will automatically place the stop loss once the operation will be opened 5 points above the maximum of the previous candle. Innovative stop loss dynamic function will be explained in the following video. Innovative chain system function will be explained in the following video. In this box you can insert all notes regarding the operation in progress. Is it possible to reproduce in automatic the strategies based on the analysis of particular graph samples? This feature will be presented in a further video. The operation immediately started in the edit status red light, but if you click on the yellow light, it goes from the status edit to pending. Instead, by clicking on the green light, the operation is processed immediately, in this case manually on trader's order. With this button, the operation is definitely deleted. With this button, we can confirm the operation, but it will remain in edit mode until the user decides to convert it in pending using the yellow light. The operation can be confirmed only in the case the PowerTradeConsole has all the necessary information: type of instrument, opening time frame, type of operation, risk and stop loss. All operations start in editing mode and they can remain in this status indefinitely. The user has to manually make them pass from edit to pending.